everyone, Mrs. Below here. In this video I'm going to go over how to get you started with the Simpson's Index Lab assessment. So the first thing you should do is you need to check your work against the key posted in the content library for the Simpson's Index Lab. There is some really important information in here that you are going to need in order to complete this lab here. So for this lab, you have two different ecosystems, and we're looking at the flowers, which are plants in each of those ecosystems, and comparing them in terms of their diversity, okay? So for each of these, it's both of these ecosystems, ecosystem A and ecosystem B. The charts are set up very similar to what we did here, okay? And you're going to be calculating the Simpson's diversity index for both of those, okay? So for example, for ecosystem A, which is right here, ecosystem B is right here, you want to start by counting how many of each different species or flower you have. So for example, this flower, there are 1, 2, 3 in that ecosystem. So I would put a 3 here. And we're going to do the same thing for the rest of those. And remember, big N, this is the total number of all the species in the ecosystem. So you're going to want to add all of those up together. And then you have your other value over here that you need to calculate. So again, this is little n, which in this case is 3. So to calculate that, you would make sure you show your work for this as well, because you do get credit for that. So you would do 3 times 3 minus 1. So that's 3 times 2, which is 6. And you're going to do that for all of those. And then again, summation, you're going to add all of those up. And then you're going to use these values in the equation here. Again, use this space to show all of your work for what you're plugging into the equation, and then of course what your answer is. Okay, you can round 2 decimal places, and again, you need to show work for credit. Okay, and again, if you don't remember how to do this, make sure you refer back to this lab and what I did for the first example, okay? And you're going to do the same thing for ecosystem B. Again, making sure that you show all of your work, okay, and what you get for your final answer. Then you have some analysis questions here. So question 1 and 2 are asking about richness and evenness. So again, this is something that was discussed in the lab here. Okay, here's where we talked about richness versus evenness, and here are 2 examples. So use that information to help you answer those questions. Now, to get credit for these questions, it says use your data. So I should see something about numbers in your explanation here. You should be referring to the numbers of the species that you're seeing in both of those ecosystems, okay? So remember, richness is how many different species that you have. That will have a clear answer. And then richness, or evenness, excuse me, is, you know, how is everything kind of distributed? Which you could actually calculate percentages to figure that out. Which one has the highest biodiversity using Simpson's index? So you need to talk about these 2 values that you get here in your answer, okay? And which ecosystem has the higher or the highest biodiversity? And then the last question, which is kind of the best way to assess diversity of an ecosystem? Is it richness, evenness, or the Simpson's index? And again, that question was addressed here, okay, in the lab, okay? So make sure, again, you read through this to help you answer those questions. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your teacher before you turn this in, and it's graded for accuracy.